You know what they say about country music, right? It's all just songs about pickup trucks, heartbreak, and, well, getting arrested. Rudy Insights here. Remember to subscribe. It is free, you know. We're about to uncover the hilarious, the bizarre, and the downright unbelievable stories of these musical outlaws. First up, the man in black himself, Johnny Cash. Now, Johnny wasn't just singing about prison life, he practically had a frequent parking spot at a few county jails. You could say he was collecting mugshots like other people collect stamps. Over 71 arrests, people. That's practically a side hustle. His offenses ranged from the understandable, like public drunkenness, hey, the man liked to party, to the downright bizarre, like picking flowers on someone else's property. I mean, who knew Johnny Cash was such a fan of horticulture? Maybe he was just trying to add a little color to his wardrobe. And let's not forget the time he smuggled amphetamines across the Mexican border, hiding them in his guitar case. You'd think they'd be suspicious of a guy walking across the border with a guitar case that weighs as much as a small child. But nope, Johnny Cash. Everyone. He could charm the stripes off a zebra. One of my personal favorite stories involves Johnny and a whole mess of tranquilizers. Picture this, 1965, El Paso, Texas. Johnny's on tour, feeling a little fatigued, shall we say, decides he needs a little pick-me-up. So what does he do? He sends a member of his entourage out to score some pep pills. Now, this being the 60s, things were a little looser. But even then, buying your drugs from a bellhop should have been a red flag. Turns out those weren't pep pills, they were horse tranquilizers. I'm not a vet, but I'm pretty sure those aren't FDA approved for human consumption. Naturally, this led to some, shall we say, erratic behavior. Johnny ended up trashing a hotel room, which, let's be honest, is practically a rock star rite of passage. But then he decided to take it up a notch and started ripping out the wall sconces. He claimed he was looking for bugs, which, considering the horse tranquilizers, might not have been entirely inaccurate. Then there was that time he was arrested for starting a forest fire. He claimed it was an accident, that his truck's faulty exhaust sparked the blaze. But the story gets even better. It wasn't just any forest, it was a national wildlife refuge, home to a rare species of endangered condors. Yes, Johnny Cash almost single-handedly wiped out an entire species of bird because of a faulty muffler. Next up, we've got David Allan Coe, a man whose life story reads like a rejected Quentin Tarantino script. He's the self-proclaimed long-haired redneck, and believe me, the man has the rap sheet to back it up. We're talking assault, robbery, burglary, the whole 9 yards. He even spent a good chunk of his early years in and out of prison. Now, David's a master storyteller. His songs are full of gritty tales of love, loss, and life on the edge. But the line between fact and fiction gets a little blurry with him. He's got this whole mysterious aura about him, and he's not afraid to embellish a story or two. I mean, the man once claimed he learned to play the guitar from a ghost in prison. One of his most infamous tales involves a bank robbery gone wrong. He swears up and down that he pulled off this daring heist, but the details are always changing. One minute he's using a water pistol, the next it's a stick of dynamite. Who knows what to believe? But hey, that's part of the David Allan Coe mystique, right? Then there was the time he got busted for tax evasion. Now I know what you're thinking. Tax evasion? That's not very rock and roll. But trust me, this is David Allan Coe we're talking about. He didn't just forget to file his taxes. He wrote a song about it. He even called the IRS on stage during a concert and offered to pay them off with the night's earnings. But perhaps the most unbelievable story about David Allan Coe is that he once escaped from prison in a garbage truck. I mean, come on, that's straight out of a Hollywood movie. Now let's talk about Glen Campbell. You wouldn't think the rhinestone cowboy himself would end up in a mugshot, but life, much like country music, is full of surprises. Our story takes place in 2003, and Glen, bless his heart, found himself in a bit of a pickle. It all started with a fender bender. Not exactly the stuff of outlaw legend, right? Well, it gets better. You see, when the police showed up, Glen, in a moment of pure, unadulterated inspiration, decided to offer the arresting officer a bite of his takeout chicken. Now, I'm all for Southern hospitality, but a peace offering of fried chicken to a cop? That's a bold move, Glen. A bold move indeed. And it didn't stop there. Oh no, Glen was just getting warmed up. He decided to serenade the police officers with his hit song Southern Nights. I mean, the man's got pipes, I'll give him that. But I'm not sure the police station is the right venue for a concert. As you can imagine, this little performance didn't exactly get him off the hook. He ended up spending a night in the Slammer, which I'm sure provided him with plenty of material for his next album. The best part? When the press got a hold of the story, they released his mugshot, and let me tell you, it's a thing of beauty. He's got this sheepish grin on his face, like he knows he messed up but can't quite believe he's in this situation. Now, our next story takes a more somber turn. Mindy McCready, a woman with a voice as smooth as Tennessee whiskey and a life touched by tragedy. Her story is a reminder that behind the bright lights and catchy tunes sometimes lies a heart filled with pain. Mindy's troubles with the law were often intertwined with personal struggles and a string of bad romances. There were DUIs, probation violations, even a suicide attempt. It's a heartbreaking tale of a life spiraling out of control, a stark reminder of the often hidden cost of fame. One particularly bizarre incident involved Mindy and her then-boyfriend, a country music producer. They got into a bit of a domestic dispute, which, sadly, isn't all that uncommon. But what sets this story apart is how it ended. Picture this. Mindy, in a fit of anger, decides to take a page out of Johnny Cash's playbook and starts tearing the place apart. Lamps are smashed, furniture is overturned, it's chaos. And then, in a moment of pure brilliance, she grabs a bottle of ketchup and writes, "I love you" on the wall. But despite the occasional moments of dark humor, Mindy's story is ultimately a tragic one. She was a talented artist who deserved a happier ending. Next up is Randy Travis, the neo-traditional country star who stole our hearts with his soulful voice and classic charm. But even this golden boy of country music had his share of run-ins with the law, proving that even the most wholesome-looking fellas can have a wild streak. Now, Randy's troubles seemed to revolve around one thing: alcohol. The man loved his booze, and sometimes that love led him down some questionable paths. Like the time he decided to park his car on the wrong side of the road in front of a Baptist church. And not just any Baptist church, mind you, but one that happened to be right next door to the police station. You can't make this stuff up, folks. And if that wasn't enough, Randy decided to up the ante by stripping down to his birthday suit and causing a ruckus. Now, I'm all for embracing your birthday suit, but maybe not in the middle of the street next to a police station, right? But the story doesn't end there. When the officers arrived on the scene, he decided to serenade them with a few verses of his hit song, "Forever and Ever Amen." Some things are forever and ever amen, like Randy's love for a good time and his uncanny ability to find trouble. And last but not least, we have Billy Joe Shaver, a true outlaw in every sense of the word. This Texas singer-songwriter lived a life full of hard living, hard loving, and one very memorable bar fight. Now, this wasn't just any bar fight. This was a full-blown, guns a-blazing, honky-tonk showdown. Picture this: a dimly lit Texas roadhouse, sawdust on the floor, the smell of stale beer and regret hanging in the air. Billy Joe's having a few drinks, minding his own business, when this fella, we'll call him Bubba, starts harassing Billy Joe and his friend. Words are exchanged, insults fly faster than beer bottles in a college bar brawl, and things escalate quicker than a game of Texas Hold'em with a $10,000 buy-in. Bubba, in a move that can only be described as ill-advised, pulls out a knife and threatens Billy Joe. Now Billy Joe, being a man of refined taste and a strong aversion to sharp objects, decides to level the playing field. He excuses himself to his truck, grabs his trusty pistol, and heads back into the bar. Billy Joe confronts Bubba. A shot rings out, and just like that, the fight's over. Bubba's nursing a flesh wound. Billy Joe's lighting up a cigarette, and everyone else is picking their jaws up off the floor. The best part? Billy Joe claimed self-defense, and the jury believed him. He walked out of that courtroom a free man, proving that sometimes even in the wild west of Texas, justice prevails. Well, there you have it, folks. A glimpse into the wild, wacky, and sometimes downright unbelievable world of country stars behind bars. It just goes to show that even the most celebrated musicians aren't immune to life's little hiccups, even if those hiccups involve handcuffs and a night in the Slammer. So, the next time you're tapping your boots to a heartfelt country ballad, just remember, there's a good chance the person singing it has a story or two to tell. And those stories might not all be sunshine and roses. Which story surprised you the most? Let us know in the comments below.